About 12 or 13 years ago, I started playing slide guitar. Now, I had always had a slide and I had messed around with it for years, but at one point I just decided to buckle down and figure it out. My dear friend and then bandmate Smiling Bob Lewis, who was a very accomplished and well-respected slide player, helped coach me through the process a bit. Now, he always thought it was weird that I was only interested in playing in standard tuning, but because we played in the same bluegrass band, he knew I didn't want to haul extra open-tuned guitars to gigs. And he graciously shared all that he knew with me, and he didn't harass me too much about the standard tuning thing. Now, the whole reason I mention all of this is to explain that the slide knowledge I'm about to share is all in standard tuning, and I just want to be clear about that from the beginning. So let's take a look at adding some slide textures into your playing. Now, first of all, let me clarify that I'm the idiot in this episode's title. In other words, if I can learn to play slide, then anyone can. And I would never knowingly insult my target audience, just letting you know. Now, I'm still not a world-class slide player, but I think I'm on my way to developing a definite style and sound. And I briefly discussed some of these ideas in the episode, The Django Rule, but let's take a more in-depth look. Now, before we jump in, let's talk slides. First thing, make sure the slide fits your chosen slide finger. We don't want the slide to fall off your finger, but we don't want it to get stuck either. Second, how are you going to use the slide? Are you going to fret chords normally and use the slide for solos, or are you going to play entire songs with the slide? Third, what type of slide? Metal, glass, or ceramic? Before you buy, try the slide on for size. If it feels secure on your finger, the diameter should be good. If you're going to play slide only, a longer slide on your ring finger seems to be a popular choice. If you're chording normally and soloing with your slide, a short slide on your little finger would be the way to go as far as I'm concerned. Now, as far as your slide's construction, that's completely subjective. Personally, I use a Joe Perry Boneyard short, large ceramic on my little finger so I can chord conventionally and then slide in the same song. Personally, I think ceramic gives the warmest, throatiest, and most balanced tone. Also, ceramic's a little denser and heavier. Personally, I feel that the weight of a ceramic slide helps me resist the urge to push the slide into the strings. More on that in a bit. Final word, do your own research and find out what feels best for your needs. Okay, so how do we do this whole sliding thing? Well, here's a couple of ground rules. Number one, strive to position the slide directly above the target fret to ensure accurate intonation. Now, when sliding, the pitch is determined by its position on the string, not in relation to your finger placement on the fingerboard, which is slightly behind the fret. Two, repeat after me. Do not press the slide down into the fingerboard. Your slide should not touch the frets. If it does, it will fret the note, which defeats the whole purpose of using the slide in the first place. Your slide should not touch the frets. If it does, it will actually fret the note, which defeats the whole purpose of using a slide in the first place. Let your slide glide over the tops of the strings. 3, mute behind the slide with available left-hand fingers. For my particular technique, I let my left-hand index finger fall lightly over the strings to mute the notes which occur behind the slide. Again, don't press with your index finger or your slide. I know it sounds weird, but remember, a string vibrates on either side of a stopped note, and we only want the note on the picked side of the string to ring solid. This rule tends to get broken a lot while in the middle of a solo, but my own learning experience tells me that it's better to start with tight control of those stray frequencies. We can always relax our playing a little bit to make it a bit dirtier and funkier sounding a little bit later. 4, be prepared to use your picking hand fingers, these leftover ones, to mute strings, particularly in descending passages. 5, if you're using a short slide, you might find you'll be able to borrow a trick from dobro players and nose in, which is playing single strings with the forward edge of your slide for pinpoint single note line accuracy with minimal excess string noise. So let's start in the key of G. Why G? Well, because if we play strings 2, 3, and 4 open, we get a second inversion G chord. All that means is that it's a G chord with the fifth or the D in the bass. And this will be our 1 chord. Okay, that's cool, but where's the slide come in? Well, if we consider that our octave repeats at the 12th fret, we see that another G is available to us at 12. Simply place your slide directly over the fret wire itself. Don't press the slide into the string. Simply ensure the slide's in contact with them, enough to make them sound clearly. Mute behind the slide and strike the 12th fret G. So now we have 2 G options. Okay, so what now? Well, the logical next step is to find the 4 and 5, a C and a D chord in the key of G. Well, that's easy. C is at the 5th fret, and D is at the 7th. Same sets of strings, by the way. Remember, for each new fret, position your slide the same way that you placed it at the 12th fret. Also, let your ears tell you when you've hit the sweet spot for each chords, because your eyes can deceive you. Now, let's use our G, C, and D chords in a blues progression. So notice anything weird? Well, I really wasn't sliding. I really feel that if you can nail your landings, so to speak, when you get some speed in your playing, the slides will happen naturally. Now that being said, if you want to do some subtle slides, just approach your target fret position from 1 no more than 2 frets below. So at this point, we're just playing chords. But if we break each chord up and arpeggiate, we now have generated some basic single note lines. Now, if we add some short slides, say 2 frets below each target note, we add even more melodic content. So consider this. If we inventory the main notes of each chord and add the approach notes again from 2 frets below and treat them as scale members, we now have constructed a usable scale contained in a handy little box which we can move from chord to chord. Now, if we use the C chord as an example, we have generated a scale made up of the notes F, G, B flat, C, D, and E. And if we arrange them from the root note, C, we get a scale which reads C, D, E, F, G, B flat. Now, this is 1 note shy of the C Mixolydian or C7 mode or scale. Notice that it's only missing the A. Well, this is pretty amazing because blues will imply a 7th chord, even if they're not explicitly stated. So this formation should be usable over the 1, 4, and 5, or the C, F, and G chords. Now, once you can navigate through the Chordsville blues progression, you should be able to import those very same ideas into other styles. For instance, a typical bluegrass chord sequence. Also, because so many rock songs are simply extrapolations of blues, blues-based slide lines will work beautifully in those styles as well. Just be sure you're aware of what chord you're playing over, and you'll be fine in most cases. Now, we only dealt with the key of G today. We will do some more slide videos dealing with some other keys, including minor keys. So keep your eyes open for those. So here are some final thoughts. 1, remember, playing slide can be disorienting at first. Don't be quick to give up. This is like anything else. There is a learning curve, and repetition breeds familiarity, so buckle down. It will get easier. 2, chances are your slide playing will be noisy and out of control sounding for a while. Resist the urge to drag the slide. Try to nail those slide positions at first, and things will clean up immensely. Also, remember to mute behind the slide and be prepared to use your pick hand fingers, including your thumb, to mute ringing strings, especially in descending passages. 3, at some point you'll hit a stray note which does not belong to the chord or scale but sounds amazing. Take note of what happened and add it to your arsenal of licks. 4, take any slide licks you come up with and learn how to replicate them without a slide using just your fingers. Now, this can be a bit of a challenge, but it can also be a ton of fun. 5, keep your slide in your slide hand pocket. For me, that's my left. This way, when you're not sliding, it's out of the way. When you need it, reach your slide hand in, slip your finger into the slide, crook your finger, and you're ready to go. Remember, please like, share, and subscribe if you're enjoying the channel's content. Hit the notification bell so you'll always know when a new episode drops, and feel free to leave comments or any suggestions for any topics you might like to see in some future videos. My name's Dave Holland, and thanks for watching String 'em Up. Have fun, stay safe, and stay healthy. See you next time.